Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Facebook Live. It's Tuesday, the 11th of January, and I've been taken over. Oh, this was Benjamin, who's going to join in our live today, but he's decided he's got places to go. So there he was, Benjamin, our little boy kitten. He's off on his adventures. Anyway, so hi and welcome to our Facebook Live. A little bit earlier today because I do have a team meeting with some of my lovely team this evening. And so that normally takes place at 7 o'clock. So I brought this one forward to 5 o'clock just for this week. So that you don't miss out, and I also get to see my team. So hi and welcome to you. If you haven't watched me before, my name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm going to be inking up a brand new stamp set today, and that is called Driving By, as you can see, and it features 3 vehicles. So you've got a little sports car with balloons, you've got like a camper van on the right, and then like a VW Beetle or equivalent with some presents on the left. And there are 3 sentiments. One says "all thanks," "you've got style," and then "driving by just to say hi," which is a little bit of fun. So I thought I would ink up this set. I haven't used it as yet. It's brand new in its box. And this is one of the free stamp sets that you can get during celebration. And that runs from, ran from the 4th of January. And this runs through to the 28th of February. And if you spend £45 in my online shop, or with me directly on products, then this is one of the items you can choose. Now I have done a run through of the products that are available, so you can hop back and look for those if you wish. Just move that out of the light. You can hop back through Facebook or YouTube to find them. But I just thought something quick and simple. I would ink this one up and make a straightforward card, and I'm actually going to use one of the samples that is actually in the catalogue. So let us see. So I'm going to put the labels onto this. And I'm going to use, so we've got the 3 examples. I think I'm going to use this little VW camper or camper van. So it's not obviously not specific VW camper van. And I'm going to use Driving By to say hi. And the sample I'm going to use, not that you can see it particularly well, is this one here. So I'm going to do it similar to this. This uses the little Beetle car. I'm actually going to be using the camper van, and I'm also going to be using some paper behind it. So it's not going to be an exact copy of this one, but it will be based on that. So let me pop this label on. And the colours I've gone for are Pool Party with this. So a nice light blue. Take my glasses off. Sounds like there's somebody at my front door. Well, there is. Excuse me 1 minute. Right, apologies for that. Okay. Hi Jeanette, hope you're well. Thanks for joining my early evening session. I'll say normally we're here at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, but we have a team meeting this evening, so I need to prepare to leave here just after 6 to get everything ready there and set up. So what I've got is a piece of basic white card which I've scored in the middle, and then I've got a piece of pool party designer paper that's going to pop onto there, and then I'm going to add this layer with the camper van, but I'm not going to cut it until I've stamped it. So I'm just going to stamp 3, and then I'm going to add a stamped version popped up in the center of those. So I'm going to leave this, or I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to cut it out. So I'm not quite sure why it's got absolutely no comments coming up here, but I've got comments on my laptop. You can't win, can you? Okay, so we're going to start by just stamping this 3 times, and I'm just going to stamp it sort of down the left hand side, and then I'm going to cut this to size, and then I'm going to stamp 1 onto here. Now on the sample they used in the catalogue, they stamped it in pool party, on pool party, but I want this to show up a little bit more, so I'm using our early espresso brown ink, and you can hear Cassie digging her way to Australia. Just hope she doesn't take the cables out while she's doing that. Okay, right, glasses are off. So I'm just going to do this by line of sight, nothing more than that. So there's 1. I hope you've had a good day, Jeanette. 2 and 3. It's quite a nice little stamp actually. Okay, so that's fine. I'm going to pop those onto there, and then I'm going to stamp this one onto the white and cut it out after I've coloured it in. I'm just going to do a spare one like so, and I'm also going to add one on the inside of my card at the ready. Okay. Hi Brenda. Oh yes, she does have fun. One day she's going to go through the bottom of my carpet. I mean, the carpets have been here a fair while since I've lived here, so I suppose it's inevitable, isn't it? Okay, so there's my little one stamped on the inside. So I'm not going to colour that one in, I'm going to leave that. And let's trim this one down ready so I can see how it's going to fit. So something nice and simple. So I've got the 3 here. Thank you for your comment, Brenda, about the Christmas cards. So I sent all of my Christmas cards, honestly, before Christmas, and I've had 5 messages to say from different people to say that they've arrived this week. I think one arrived at the weekend as well. So they must have just got put into a box somewhere and abandoned. Because I mean, we had 3 working days last week. So even if they got held up then, they should have arrived, shouldn't they? Okay, so I'm just going to fold this one over here. So after our lovely day yesterday, it's rather gloomy here today. But there we go. And then I've got a piece of this designer paper, and I do like this crisscross. On the other side it's got little flowers, fleur-de-lis sort of thing. And I'm going to put this on, and I might actually put a layer of espresso behind this, just to make that stand out. But let's colour this one in first. So I've got Pool Party pens, and I'm going to use a little bit of I've got grey, so I've got grey granite, I've got smoky slate, I've got basic grey, I've got basic black. Let's just try a little bit of grey granite. So I've stamped two so that I've got a spare, and I can always cut that one out and put it on the envelope. So I'm just going to colour one of these in. And so we've got black or dark tyres. This day and age, this time of year, they should be very muddy tyres, really, shouldn't they? It's the roads are a bit lethal with the mud and everything. Like so. And then let's have, I'm going to do a little bit of blue for that at the edge of the hubcap. Like that. There we go. Let's do a little bit of grey for the bumper and the exhaust. Like that. And then we've got a light front and back. I'm not sure I want to do that in red, really. Let's just do it in grey, I think. Like so. So that is light grey granite, and let's use light smoky slate. So not a technical card in any way, really. And then I'm just going to colour the main part of this in. So I've got light and dark Pool Party. Let's just start with a little bit of dark. So we do have some new pens coming out. They're still blends pens like these ones are, but there's a whole series of them with neutral tones, so perfect for skin tones and hair, and also fur for animals. So, and they come in packs of 2, but they're not light and dark like they are with the rest of the blends. They are like a medium light and a light, and then a medium dark and a dark, and then very dark. So I think there's 10 altogether, so 5 sets of 2, and they will be available for you, my lovely customers, from the beginning of February, and demonstrators can order them at the moment, and they will go into the new annual catalogue. So by the summer, but they are releasing them nice and early, which is great. Just going to do a little bit of blue across there. Like so. And I'm just going to use my colour lifting pen just to lift some of that out. Just want to make sure that's clean. Not sure it's got much in it actually. I'll try another one. That's better. So just brushing that over where I've done the coverage for the windows. I'll lift it up so you can see. Hi Scott. So there we go. So it's just lightened up those windows. We can see that. I might make this all the same colour actually, not have a different set there. So this is Dark Pool Party. Glasses coming off again. So this will put me out of kilter for the rest of the week now, being live at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. So apologies if you're watching later and you're expecting to find me live at 7. I'll be with some of our lovely team and we will be crafting, so we get up to all sorts of things. We have in the winter we have pizzas and things like that. In the summer we usually have cake and things like that, but in the winter it's definitely pizza, because a lot of people come straight from work, for example, and I don't want them being hungry and not eating. So we recently changed to having pizza. And where we meet at Evenly Village Hall is a really lovely venue, and they've recently redone their whole kitchen, and so it's a lovely place. If you are local and you're looking for somewhere to hold an event, a party or anything like that, I would highly recommend Evenly Village. Okay, there we are, happy with that, that will do. Okay, let's put the top on there. So I'm just going to use my scissors and fussy cut this out. Hi Jill, hope you're doing well, hope you're making some progress. Fingers crossed. Lovely to see you on Tuesday at Coffee and Card, and the same with Scott. So just cutting round here, and I'm just cutting a little bit around the edge, so I'm just leaving a small amount of border, but not very much. Not for any particular reason, just the way I cut it today. Sometimes I leave more of a border. But I'm going to pop this onto one of the stamped images here. And I stamped it really for spacing as much as anything. There we go. So fairly straightforward. And I think this might be our next Coffee and Card design for this week, because then people, because it's got 3 different vehicles, you could stamp one of each, but equally there's 3 different ones, which makes it easier to share when we're crafting. So for this week on Friday we're still at Jenny's restaurant. And then, all being well, assuming the girls are back from Hummingbirds from their annual holiday. We'll be back at Hummingbirds next week. And we meet at Toaster every Monday afternoon, 2:30. Okay, there we go. Right, let's have a look. So I think this would be nice with some espresso just around the edges, just to separate this from the base. So let me grab a scrap of espresso. I know I've got here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just literally going to pop it on there and cut it. I'm going to do it that way around. They're not exactly level, but they'll be good enough for my purposes. So I'm just going to grab my seal. Yes, I'm going to put this one flat onto our espresso layer. So it's always best to use the long side as your straight side, and then there's less measuring or cutting. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this down, and again I'm just doing that by eye, a straightforward card. There we go. It just makes that pop a little bit. Now I could put another layer behind there if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to leave it because this is the focal point anyway. So let's pop this layer down. Let's grab this. So you could, use your adhesive of choice. Going to pop that on there. Actually, I'm going to turn that round. It's got a little kink in it. And don't do what I've just done. Or you can if you get away with it. Not quite straight, but it will do. Okay, so I've got a choice. I could put this in the middle or to the left. So what I'm going to do is add a sentiment. I'm not quite sure what colour to stamp it on, so let's try. This is going to go on there, like so. And then I'm going to have driving by to say hi. So let's stamp that. Hi Zana, hope you're well. So we're just having a play with one of the celebration stamp sets called Driving By. Yes, Cassie, just this one here. You've probably seen this already, I'm sure. And I'm just going to cut this. Yes, Cassie, being very needy. She's got food, she's got the back door open. Okay, so yeah, I want to put that straight over that one. Now I've got to deliberate where I'm going to put this one here. So I could bring it all up and have that at the bottom. That feels nicely balanced. Or I could have this at the side or at an angle, or I could cut this in half and have Driving By just to say hi. Any suggestions? Let's put this layer on while we're deliberating. So my gut feel is at the bottom, but I could cut it in half and separate driving by just to say hi. Oops. So let me know. And the colours I've chosen here are Pool Party and Early Espresso. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Zana. She just said my dog's just woken her cat. Oh dear. Okay, so we're just going to pop that on there. And as I said, I only really stamped it for spacing. So I knew I'd have the right amount of space. So what do we reckon? At an angle like that, or at the bottom, or cut it in half? Any suggestions? See what anybody says. And I've got this on the inside. Put that little one there. Bottom. Sana says bottom. Bless. Yes, I think the bottom. Let me pop these back while anybody else is thinking about it. And one there, so I've got a spare one ready for next time. So if you do have these spares, keep them in with your stamp set so that you know where they are. I'm thinking the same. I think I'm going to go for the bottom. So I might pop that up on dimensionals as well. So let's do that. Like so. And then just sort of pop, oops a daisy, 6 on here, just sort of dotted around and supported as much as anything. And that's a nice easy card. You could do it without the background layer. You could use an embossing folder for the layer. In fact, this is what they've done on the card on page 7 of the catalogue, if you see it. So I'm going to just bring this up quite high, just working it out by eye really, knowing that I've left hopefully enough space for our little sentiment here. And again, just there we go. Nice and straightforward, nothing complicated. You could just stamp the 3. You could stamp 3 on white and just colour them in 3 different colours. That'd be quite good fun. So there we go. So that's the Driving By stamp set. So I say it's free in celebration, so spend £45 on an order, and then you can choose that as one of your selections. So there's quite a few to choose from this catalogue here. So if you don't have a copy and you're in the UK, then more than happy to send you a copy out in the post, both of that and the mini catalogue. Obviously, if you've got an existing demonstrator that looks after you, then give them the courtesy of sending one to you. And that's it for today. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed that. Really simple little card. Sometimes we have to go simple, no harm in that at all. So I shall be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 a.m, where I'll do something else with this set. So I do hope you're able to join me. I trust that Cassie won't be making quite so much noise. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Have a great evening. Look forward to seeing some of my team this evening. And in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, stay safe, and keep crafting.